This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
John Edwards.
And every year you get together with a group of like-minded people.
Friends and out the village, and they're all very good, and we have a nice dinner up there. But this time we're going to pay because of the time, it's come to the time now that I think they're all getting harder up, aren't they? So we've got to pay this time, but we've had it really good in the past 8 years we've been going.
And Johnny Johnson as a pilot, such a famous name.
He was such a famous name, and I mean, people get him mixed up with Lancaster Johnny Johnson. I think he lived to about 95, something like that, and he just got awarded from the Queen. I think it's the MBE just this recently, hasn't he? So that was award, and we just keep him going. Because I hate, I used to meet him on shoot days at Wolfots and one or two places around Empingham, and it was quite, the Captain Haywoods at Oakham, which was quite notable, and, it was quite lovely chatting to them. He used to tell us about all the World War stuff that went on in his flights and everything over the missions he did, and then you get people that you meet that sort of went, there's a bloke called, what was his name? I can't remember his name, he's just died recently. Horace from Uppington, he knew him well. And, you build up this relationship with them, and it's great, really, to keep them going, because once they're forgotten, I don't like to be like that. I like to keep the name going, and,
And this Johnny Johnson, is this the one who actually used to have the parties up at Rutland Water at Hambleton?
I couldn't comment on that.
No.
But I know.
But he was quite well known locally, wasn't he?
He was very well known locally. And I do believe his dear wife's still alive. I think she's in the home at Oakham. She's a great age, I believe. But there are several of them. And then it was a company, run by... it was his brother that formed the Wells Building Company, and they built a lot of houses, quite a few in Uffington. And there's about 8 down Casset Lane that were built by the firm. Oh yeah, it's quite interesting.
So he's such a legacy locally, and of course, everyone across the country knows that name from World War II.
That's right, yes. There's one or two more notables, but there's one from Ufford there, I forget his actual name, but he was a great man. There's several around here. There's one at Ketton, but I've forgotten his name. But no, it was great. It's great, and we go up every year, as I say.
Up to RAF Wittering, and
RAF
you're
Wittering.
hosted by them every.
That's right, and then the Mercury kindly turn up, and keep things going. Yes.
But as you say, it's the legacy that, out of all the names of World War II, there isn't a more well-known name than his.
Well, not really. No, he's highly decorated. But the great thing, what I always thought about, he must have been great or had a lot of luck to come back alive. There's many perish, wasn't there? That must have been a lot of luck with it.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
So I'm Alison Chambers, and I'm the head teacher of English Martyrs Primary School in Oakham.
And how has the school got involved in Tree Week, National Tree Week?
Well, through National Tree Week, we applied for some trees which we've had delivered via Woodland Trust, and we're going to plant those down by our pond to replicate some of the forest school activities that we tend to do off-site at the moment. We want to create a small wooded area on our field. We were lucky to have some trees previously, and Oakham School students came to help us plant those on one of their service days, and we've been able to put them alongside our playground for cover and also alongside our fence to provide some extra cover down there as well. But we're going to use the new lot we've got, we're going to plant them with the children around our pond area.
So did you have to apply to the Woodland Trust for these trees? Was there a certain criteria? Or?
It was a grant that was out there for schools to do, and you could apply for trees. We also got some bulbs and some trowels as well, so we've been busy planting the bulbs in our pulling area to try and create some colour in spring. brighten that area up. So the children have been involved or will be involved in both activities. But it was something that all schools could apply for, and we were just lucky to receive a pack through.
And how will these woodland areas and all of these resources that you've got now, how will they help the children?
Well, the children love learning outside, and we like to provide as many opportunities as we can for outdoor learning. So it gives them possibilities and the chances, the opportunities to plant, to see things grow that they've actually planted themselves, and then to be able to use those in some of our outdoor learning activities. We've got a forest school benched area on our field, so the children are used to going out with their class teachers in groups and doing some of the forest school outdoor activities at the moment, and this will just give us an opportunity to make those better with actually having a small wooded area on the school site.
Rutland Radio.
Tom Greeno, I've been judging the pigs.
Anthony Glaves, I've been judging the sheep.
And James Glaves, I've been judging the cattle.
And what was it that made the pig the best in show today?
It was perfectly finished, broad all the way across, right from the shoulder right down to the back end of the pig. It couldn't have been any better finished.
And as a show, I mean, this is very much, more, I suppose, more a tradition than anything, but it still has that same standard as, say, the Rutland show does in the summer.
Oh yeah, the quality today in the lambs was supreme, really. And to come to a place like this, it's maybe going back in time, but it's something good as well. I think it's different for me, and I've really enjoyed it. And it's a show maybe that I'll never forget. Really, it's one of a kind, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. I mean, it's still the oldest in temporary pens. As you say, this does kind of, give you a flavour of how it used to be, almost.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really traditional. A lot of people have turned out. It's nice to see the little school children coming around in school parks as well. And some of them will never be this close to animals. And hopefully it'll give them the taste for the future, pardon the pun.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Victoria Thomas. So I'm the owner of the Ibrook Gallery.
So Small Business Saturday, what is it all about?
Okay, so it's Small Business Saturday. It's all about essentially trying to, promote small business, and it's trying to essentially get people to look at, the kind of shops that they've got locally, the small independent shops, and essentially getting people to, buy things for Christmas, hopefully, anyway, yeah.
And the Ibrook Gallery has been awarded a Small Business Saturday.
Yep.
So what will happen with that?
Okay, so essentially that's today, and so with that, essentially there's 100 businesses. I think it's from about August all the way up until the Saturday, which is this Saturday. Each 100 businesses have had their own day, so today's our day. Social media, press and stuff, it's all about essentially, shouting out about what we are, what we do. Artists and stuff that we support. We do a lot of, not obviously just selling the art, but we actually help to support, a lot of the artists with getting themselves running, helping them with what they're doing with prints, originals, shows. So, it's not just about physically selling their work, but it's also about, trying to help them. It's quite nice, but hopefully that's what we're trying to do, is trying to, promote that, what we do, and also Rutland as well, really. So
why do you reckon you were chosen?
Essentially we had to do a video to, we kind of showed off the shop, said what we did, and I think what they're just trying to, get is a diverse group of businesses, have sort of different business models, and I think, or hope that we were chosen because I think we're quite different. We're sort of, a young couple that do the business together, been doing this nearly 3 years now. I think we were just sort of chosen for, the kind of range of sort of stuff we have.
And you're off to Downing Street tomorrow.
We are, yes, I know. So again, that's with the Small Business Saturday people, Top 100. We're going to go and see what it's all about. We're going into Downing Street, so that's quite exciting. No idea who we're meeting or anything, but it's good opportunity for us to kind of not only, talk about us, but also about Rutland, hopefully.
Yeah, and why is this good for Rutland?
It's really good because I think Rutland, it's a great sort of very small county, and there's so many, small independent businesses, obviously not just on the high street, but obviously there's online businesses and other stuff as well. So I think hopefully having the spotlight kind of put on our businesses, but also, for Uppingham and, Rutland as well, I think it's quite nice to be able for us to kind of show people around the UK, or, the diverseness that we've got here, and obviously the independent shops that are here as well, and, the kind of different ranges of stuff that we've got.
Rutland Radio.
Sarah Side-Botham, parent.
So how has Barnet Primary School been getting involved in National Tree Week?
Well, every year the Woodland Trust offer lots and lots of trees to us, and this year we met with the Woodland Trust in March, talked about how many trees we could take, and placed an order and waited to see if we were going to be successful, and we were.
So where are these trees going?
Well, they've all been planted along the side of the path to form a big hedge, and along one of the other paths at the back of the school to try and form another hedge, and we've got about 20 left that we need to dot around.
And why is it important for the school?
It just makes, the whole area look prettier. It's also communal ground for the whole village, so it just looks better. It's got, wildlife, all sorts of benefits as well, so and it'll form a barrier and it'll just look pretty as well.
So with the children, are they getting involved in planting any of the trees?
Yep, each child planted a tree, and then they decorated a little pebble so that they can put it at the bottom and they know which tree's theirs.
And then they can watch it grow, I suppose.
Hopefully, over the next few years, yep.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
So I'm stood inside a Bowthorpe oak tree, which has got one of the largest girths of an oak tree in England, with Richard Blanchard. How you doing?
All right, thank you.
So this tree must have so many stories to tell, because we've just found something on the inside of it dating back to 1816, carved in the wall.
That's right. Yeah, there's quite a few interesting carvings when you look. The woodworm's taking its toll now, but it's still fascinating. It's still worth seeing.
And you've said that they've managed to get how many people inside here?
I think it's over 30. Admittedly, some were standing on some people's shoulders, and there were some children. It was quite a large amount. Yeah.
And it's a fantastic sight to see.
You have to see it to believe it. You do. Yeah. You mentioned to people about a tree, but yeah, it's, even if you're not a big tree fan, it's still worth a look.
Now, National Tree Week this week, so why is this tree so important?
It's just what we say. It's Lincolnshire's best kept secret, and it's okay. Its size, it is a large tree, and there are lots of other trees about, but this one is just how it's survived this long is just amazing. And we just are guardians of it, and try and protect it, and hope it's here for many years to come.
So if people want to come and visit it, it's at Bowthorpe Farm Park.
That's right. At the moment we are closed. We're closed till the spring, and then we'll start off with lambing in the spring. But if you want to treat somebody and come and have a personal view inside the tree, please phone and make an appointment, and we'll go from there. If it could only have eyes, it could only speak. It'd be amazing what this tree has seen. There has been one or two things that go on here, but it's probably, even some people have said that it's got an aura about it. There's something mystical about it as well, which goes along with the farmhouse. So, it's I say you've just got to come and see it to appreciate it.
And it's probably not just us in the tree at the moment. There's probably loads of little creatures hiding away.
I would say there's lots of insects. Yeah, and an old oak like this, all the nooks and crannies, there'll be quite a lot. It'll be home to quite a lot of different species, yeah.
Rutland Radio.
Well, you can hear in the background the spray of the water, the soap, the elbow grease that's going into this, Lydia.
I can't believe we're doing this on literally the coldest day of the year.
It is the coldest day so far. So, Abby, what's it like actually working outside in this weather? I know we've got the sunshine at the moment, but
it's just in morning is a bit hard, till you start the job and the weather pick a little bit up.
So we're in the queue here, and actually there's people behind us, so I know we need to do this pretty quickly.
Yeah, we just have to put the car forward a little bit. So
how long should this take us to do? We are just washing Rutland Radio cars, identical ones here.
It's about 20 minutes for both.
And what about tips? What are the bits that people miss when they come and actually start working for you?
Tires and down in the wing sides.
Have you got any secrets? The secret to car washing, to doing a good job?
I mean, we have to be careful, when you're washing the car. That's the main thing. You don't have to miss nothing on a car. Otherwise, when you dry it, you're going to be muddy and stuff,
I see I've drawn the short straw, Lydia. Have you seen the state of this thing compared to yours?
You've got the Lydia one.
Yes. Well, we had some help there. Thank you very much to your team. But that's a labour-intensive job, a lot of hard work.
Yeah, there is on it, yeah. Because especially on this weather, it's a bit harder. So when it's summer, it gets a bit easier.
Yeah. My hands are so red. I couldn't move. It was so cold.
Yes.
With the water as well.
It is a bit. You just have to kind of power through it, don't you? Did you enjoy the experience?
I did, yeah. I'm just not tall enough to clean my roof. So I'm on my tiptoes to clean the roof. But
yeah. Oh, that's a good point, actually. Hang on. Hang on. Yeah, you're right. There's a bit there. It's all in the detail. So, you have to now choose between
both
Rob,
of you was good
Lydia.
For the first timers. What can I say? She was a bit faster than you when washing the car, but you do more detailing. So I don't know what to choose, to be honest.
Is it going to be another tie?
You can have a draw if you like.
Draw, yeah.
Yeah?
I think draw, yeah. Because she was fast washing the car, you was very detailing, you know. So
yeah.
Perfect. I did see you cleaning inside the door.
All right, but both of you very good for first time, both of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your help here at the Oakham Car Wash.
Thank you.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
It's Rutland Radio, I'm Rob Pisani. Not too long now till the amazing event where you just see a sea of red at Burley. It's the 2017 Stamford Santa Fun Run, organised by the Rotary Club of Stamford Burley, and this year's president, Roger Neal, is with us this morning. Roger, always an incredible event, but you do actually think, well, what can we do to build on this, despite the fact you have hundreds every year doing this?
We do, Rob, thank you, yes. I mean, this year we're doing a few extra things that we haven't done before. Firstly, we've got the Santa Dog Parade, which will be bigger and better than last year. And following that prize giving, all the dogs will be accompanying their owners on the run. Then we have the Wildcats who are performing the warm-up for all the Santas prior to the start. It's a fantastic sight seeing a huge crowd of Santas dancing in the warm-up, especially with the background of Burley Park.
Yeah, isn't it just?
Wildcats are also bringing along a group of children to sing Christmas songs and carols. On the charity side, we have a record number of teams taking part, many raising money for their own chosen charities. But this year, runners may support 3 charities we've chosen. They are the Links and Knots Air Ambulance, Mind for Wendy, and Team George.
And Mind for Wendy, of course, in memory of Wendy Hetherington, who I know so many people are raising money for.
Yeah, it's fantastic that people are doing that. And this year we've got record levels of sponsorship as well. Far too many sponsors to mention them all, but lots of local traders and so on have helped us along the way.
So hundreds of people will be taking part. There is still chance to add to that as well.
Yeah, we really have a limit of about 1,200 runners. And with only a week to go now, any runners who are still to book their place should now do so as soon as possible by logging on to StamfordSantaFunRun.com.
And it's a very simple process, isn't it? You can do everything online and then you arrange to collect your suit from Borderville and then arrive on the day.
Sure, the website will tell you how to collect your suit, but it is from Borderville Sports Centre on the Ryle Road in Stamford, so it's a very easy process.
And if people really cannot do that, they can turn up on the day as long as they're early enough.
They can, yes. Obviously, we prefer them to collect their suit beforehand, but if they turn up on the day, well, that's fine. We can deal with that. They need to bring cash, though, if they're entering for the first time on the day, because we don't have any credit card type facilities on site on the day.
So it's a 5k run. Is it still in the triangle that it normally is there around Burley Park?
Yep. You enter from the Barnack Road at what they call the station gate. It's obvious where to go once you arrive, yeah.
And I know you'll be there from sort of 9:30, 10 o'clock, but the actual run starts at 11:30.
That's correct, yes, 11:30. But the dogs run earlier, and all of that's on the website. StamfordSantaFunRun.com. There are posters everywhere. You might even have had a leaflet through your door. I'll be there too. Can't wait to be part of it again. I just think it is one of those events, isn't it, that very much is in the Christmas calendar. It's become such a regular event. Everyone looks forward to it now, and it's part of the features of Stamford really nowadays. It's great.
Roger Neal, President of the Rotary Club of Stamford Burley. Thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio, and see you on the 10th of December at Burley Park.
Thank you, Rob. Look forward to it.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
Charles Malcolm Brown, and I'm the chairman of the Mountain Trust.
And here we are with the watch having been won, all that money being raised for the Mountain Trust. How will What will that mean to you? I mean, that's quite a contribution, isn't it?
It's a hefty contribution, and I've got to say, just think it's a marvellous combination of the Looms company's expertise, our networking and contacts over there, and the amazing courage of that young team, very young team, to take those watches to the summit. It makes a huge difference in terms of the village that we're rebuilding after the quakes near to the first epicentre in Gorka. And for about £1,500 we can build a house to earthquake-proof standards, and the villagers will give their labour for free, so we pay for the serious materials and skilled labour. So it's going to make a significant difference to a lot of families over there.
So you could effectively build a small street?
Yes, that's what we're in the process of. So far we've done 2 schools and 11 out of 55 houses, and we're not intending to give up any time soon. Trouble is, of course, that out of sight, out of mind, people were much more aware and helpful immediately afterwards. Other things tend to take over, but we're in there for the long term.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
I'm Rabina Hill, I'm the Managing Director of Looms.
And here we are at the end of that amazing journey that watch took.
Absolutely. It's been up to Everest twice, it's been through an earthquake, down a crevasse, and now it's on the arm of a very proud Andy Baker, and we couldn't be more delighted that someone local won the watch.
And the thing is, I'm not really a wristwatch person. I saw an article in the Stamford Mercury, saw that it was coming up for auction, looked further into it and just thought it'd be an interesting item to own. And that's it, really. That's how I came to own it.
So you're local as well?
I live in Bourne.
So you've no temptation to give it away as a Christmas present then?
Oh, no.
Describe the scene then. Where were you when you found out actually you'd won the watch?
I was actually on a digger on a building site.
Charles Malcolm Brown, and I'm the chairman of the Mountain Trust.
What will that mean to you? I mean, that's quite a contribution, isn't it?
It's a hefty contribution, and I've got to say, just think it's a marvellous combination of the Looms company's expertise, our networking and contacts over there, and the amazing courage of that young team, very young team, to take those watches to the summit. It makes a huge difference in terms of the village that we're rebuilding after the quakes near to the first epicentre in Gorka. And for about £1,500 we can build a house to earthquake-proof standards.
So you could effectively build a small street?
Yes, that's what we're in the process of. So far we've done 2 schools and 11 out of 55 houses.
There will be another watch to be auctioned for the Gurkha Welfare Trust in the spring.
Rutland Radio.
Yeah, my name is Lieutenant Alex Hedges. I'm Platoon Commander in C Company.
I'm Private Trappit and I'm just a bod in C Company.
And tell us about today's challenge. You've been in teams of 7?
Yeah, so today is an 18-mile tab, which means that you're marching and running with weight. So we've been doing with 15 kilograms, plus water is extra. Breaking down into teams between 6 and 8, so that's the section. So when they go on exercise or operations, that's what they'll be in, which is called the All-Bat. And the idea is it's a best effort in your teams, in your sections around the Rutland Water.
How was it? I mean, it's not terrible conditions for it today, but carrying all that load.
It's definitely the hardest thing I've ever done. I mean, I need to put my feet in a bath, to be honest.
You're hurting a bit?
Oh, a little bit, that's not the word.
So what sort of time did you make it around 18 miles?
4:09, so it's not too bad. So I'm happy with that.
So is this the first exercise you've done up at Rutland Water since you arrived?
For our company, yes. Another company has been here to do physical events. It's just a difference from the airfield based in Kendry Barracks, which was RF Cottesmore. Makes it a bit more interesting, and it's a nice way to ingratiate ourselves with the sort of local community as well. We've got quite a bit of interest going round. And obviously we're doing it for SAFA, the charity, so trying to raise money for that too.
Can people donate any other way other than seeing you?
We're looking into basically offline, I can tell. Yeah, but yeah.
Great. Have you? No, that's absolutely fine. Don't worry. I just thought I'd ask the question. It's sometimes difficult when you're kind of, enclosed on the. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Have you anything else to add about today's challenge?
No, I think it was a good effort from everyone. The lads, although it's difficult, they enjoyed it, and it is something. We've got fresh lads coming from Catterick, and literally 2 lads have just turned up on Monday, and this is the first thing they've done at battalion, and it's a good milestone to do. 18 miles, it's not a mean feat with weight as well, and we ran quite a bit of it, so it's good. They've done well.
People think Rutland Water's flat. It isn't, is it?
Nah, definitely not. Now, like, some of it's flat, but towards the end over there, nightmare.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
So it must be an amazing whirlwind for you, actually. I mean, you've excelled at sport at Oakham and now actually playing in America?
Yeah, thank you. Now, I've been at Oakham School for 5 years and I've played football here, I've played rugby here, and I've done athletics, obviously run track, and I've been in the first team for all 3 sports. So it's been really, really nice to obviously be here first of all, and then to have the opportunity to play out there and play in that game, and even go to college out there for American football. Like, it'll be an absolute dream.
And you've been a massive star in rugby here, for instance. You know, highlighted as one of the big players. You know, with some of the performances that you've done.
Thank you very much. I've played for Leicester Tigers. I've obviously played for Oakham School, and I've been in the academy for a few years now. So I've just been really excited to obviously transfer everything that I've learned from those sports into playing American football.
Now, you're obviously not American, yet
Yeah.
It's only Americans that play this normally.
Yeah, I'm actually humbled to have the opportunity to play in a game like this, because obviously you got the 100 best players in the States, and to be the first I'm really happy, because it's a pathway for many to follow, and hopefully more will look to play American football in the future.
Here we are just looking out over Doncaster Close in Oakham. What does this place mean to you over these years you've been here?
So this place means the absolute world to me, because I come from a South London background in a place called Croydon, and many people from our area don't necessarily manage to get out, and to have an opportunity to go to school like this is absolutely incredible, and I'm just so delighted to have Oakham support me over the years, and especially today.
Rutland Radio.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, Lydia, I hear.
It is. It's my favourite time of year.
Now, I know how you always like to give your challenge a title.
Mine is Christmas at Home in Winter Wonderland. I've got my tinsel, and it's all quite wintry because I've got silvers, whites, but then I've got a video of a fireplace, got some warm lights, got mince pies, gingerbread candles as well, so kind of a mishmash of the outside and the inside together.
I think I'll call mine Sound and Light in Stamford and Rutland. I have a tree which I nicked from home. Only a small one. I've done a Merry Christmas thing. I'd forgotten about being able to get the fireplace on the internet like you have. As you can hear, the music's coming from my desk. I just happen to have a chocolate bar on the desk, so I just thought I'd put it there anyway. I don't know whether it will actually sway the judging. And of course, we've got the colour-changing lights here, so pretty similar to your globes, actually. Our judges, Elaine and Jules, you have to work with us every day. You have to see the state of my desk, apart from anything else.
I know. Well, what we've decided is we're actually going to compare your efforts against the Christmas tree that Julie and I put up in the office, and we feel that Lydia's really gone to town with the sparkle and the silver as well as the lights.
It's nicely themed, isn't it?
Very much so, and I have to say her desk is a lot clearer than yours.
I knew that I'd come into it.
However, you've done the blokey thing, all the electrical stuff, the pretty lights,
Yeah.
all very festive. Nice tree, even though you did pinch it from home.
Well, I just instant tree, it was there.
We've conferred and we have a definite winner, and this year we are open to bribes, and the 2 mince pies won it, I'm afraid.
That will be 5-4 then, Lydia. So, Lydia, you have the golden envelope.
I have, and I'm victorious, so let's have a look what the next challenge is.
I don't think I've ever seen you so happy since you started working here.
Here we go then, right. Continuing the Christmas theme, make a handmade Christmas card.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Alex Pask and the Managing Director of Mintridge Events. I was shortlisted for the Women of the Future Awards in the sports category. The awards were founded in 2006 by Pinky Lilani. She focuses on kindness and collaboration and helping generate networks for up-and-coming women in many different industries.
And you've gone and won it.
I did. Yes,
Well
I couldn't believe
done.
it. Thank you.
So how did you feel when it was announced that you were the winner?
Oh, it was a bit of a whirlwind, really. So I shared the award in our category. There were 2 winners, which was really exciting. So they called my name, and my family were with me. They sort of jumped up and my mum was crying and screaming, and then it was just a bit of a whirlwind, and it hadn't really sunk in until I was stood there on stage and having to speak to the audience. At which point the emotions just took over, really, and I was very emotional about it all.
And what does this award mean to you?
Oh, it's incredible, really, that for two reasons. One, personally, I think it's really nice to have recognition. The last 2 years of building a business, it's quite lonely at times, so to have that recognition is really exciting. And then on the flip side for Mintridge and what it will do and the boost for the company itself as I transition to a charity will be huge as well. So yeah, really, really exciting on both counts.
With you winning, what do you think it will do for Rutland as well?
Oh, I think it'll be a huge boost for the schools and the clubs that might not necessarily be aware of Mintridge, and that they can come forward and hear a bit more about Mintridge and what we do and the sports that we offer and the different ambassadors that we have. So I really, really hope that we can help the young people of Rutland with our programmes. We visit schools and clubs to deliver mentoring programmes. So some programmes are very sport specific, so we can help up and coming talented students develop in their sports, or we can help with life skills such as confidence and behaviour. I think sport's a really powerful tool, so our programmes highlight just how flexible it can be.
So what would you say to other women out there that could go for that award?
It's really helped with my self-belief and my confidence, and I think it shows that anything is possible. I often look at myself as little old me and who's going to know about me and who's going to recognise it, but the fact that I was in a room of incredible women from all walks of life in huge corporate companies, and I was on a level playing field competing with them. It just shows that anything is possible, particularly geographically. I think sometimes I personally feel I might be losing out on certain circumstances because I'm not in London or in the big cities, but I'm based in Rutland, live in Stamford, and look what I'm achieving. So anything's possible.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
Well, Roger Neal, I'm president of the Stamford Burley Rotary Club this year.
And here we are on the finish line of the Stamford Santa Fun Run, probably the snowiest in its history.
It's certainly the snowiest. We've only once in the last 11 years had snow at all, and today it's given us enough for the last 11 years, I think, in one go.
Quite a number of entries as well. I mean, pushing towards the 1,000 mark.
Well, we had well over 900. I don't think they've all run today, but we've had well over 900 entries, and I bet you there's been 400 or 500 of them actually turned out in this appalling weather, yeah.
There is just a great spirit, isn't there, and just seeing the sea of Santas here today.
Well, it's always the same with the warm-up. They all gather round and they're led by the Wildcats, and they did a tremendous job dancing around today and stamping their feet and warming their frozen toes, but it's been just marvellous.
And there was actually a word from Rotary just posted 24 hours ago saying Santa doesn't cancel, neither will we.
Well, we never do cancel. We've taken the entrance money, we have to put it on, and thankfully we did, and thankfully most of them turned up, so it's been brilliant.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
So we're here at Catmos College at the reception with the hugest Christmas tree just here with a gold star on the top, but who is going to get our first star award? That is the question, Lydia.
It is Sebastian Constable. I'm whispering because we're just going into his classroom right now. I'm trying to look for him.
I know he's clocked his mum already, but she has said that she's actually here to meet the head.
Sebastian? Seb?
We'd like to present something to you today.
Oh, thank you.
Now, we're giving you that because we heard about your fundraising for the Little Princess Trust, where your hair was cut, that you didn't have the easiest time at school over it, but you were determined to go through with it.
Yeah.
Now, Anna, as his mum, tell us about the journey with the Little Princess Trust. Now, Seb had his hair long for quite some time.
Yep, so it took him about 19 months to grow his hair. He ended up donating around about 9 to 10 inches of his hair. Just before Christmas last year, he had a bit of a meltdown. He wanted to cut all his hair off. He was absolutely distraught. It turned out he was being bullied by some of the children, even though some of them did know what he was doing it for. But he was kind of that in-betweeny length where he was looking a bit scruffy. It was quite traumatic, and he spent a couple of weeks off between Christmas and going back in January, really thinking about whether he was going to continue with his journey, because he wasn't quite long enough to donate at that point. I think it's been a bit of a life lesson for him, to be fair, how to deal with things. The school were great when we approached them and dealt with it really well and supported him with continuing his journey, of which he did. He finally nearly raised £500. We're just shy of that target, but with the gift aid donations on top, he's actually smashed it. So, yeah, I'm really proud of him.
And you know, having seen you with long hair and with short hair, you rock both looks.
Yeah.
Seb Constable, you're our hero star from Rutland Radio and Adams and Sons Moorcock. So there's your trophy, certificate from Lydia. And do you have any words for... It was Julie Hardy who actually nominated you. She wrote us a long submission.
Thank you, Julie, for nominating me, and I'm privileged.
Rutland Radio.
So here we are then, in the UCC Modern Foreign Languages Department. This is my first time in this bit, Lydia.
Yes, I haven't actually been in this bit either. So exciting. I've actually spotted her poster up on the wall there.
French Linguist of the Month in Year 7, yes. Who could it be? Never heard her sing in French, but maybe she might in the future.
You'd like to come through?
Hello, we're from Rutland Radio.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, ça va? That's all coming back to me now. There's an award here for someone in this room, and she's just looking at me right now. We've been running these awards, and we have 5 to give out. This is our second, and out of all those that were winners, this person had the most amount of nominations. We were overrun with nominations for Eva Rose Finnemore, who wins our Talent Star. You have won. How do you say you have won a trophy, a prize in French?
Tu as gagné un prix.
Tu as gagné un prix.
Fantastic.
Eva, tell us about your music, your talent, you know, the things you've been up to over the last few months.
I've kind of just been really busy just doing loads of gigs and talent shows. I've won quite a few competitions now. I've got quite a few trophies.
And as well as actually writing and recording and performing your own music, you've done it for other people as well.
Yeah, I've performed for quite a few charities and raised quite a lot of money. I performed for Samfest and raised over $2,000 for them. I also raised lots of money for Howard Rose, who got all his stuff stolen, about $2,500 again.
And what do your friends at UCC actually think of what you do? They got their thumbs up here.
Fantastic.
Fantastic, yes, of course. Well, Eva Rose Finnemore, well done. This is one of your nominations here.
Yeah, so some of your nominations, you've had one from your mum.
You never told me.
It was all a secret. One from your grandma, also Samantha Bartles, Donna Robb, Hazel Glassford, Alison Hornby and Charlie Pallett as well, so they've all been backing you.
Thank you.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
So we're outside a school on Empingham Road in Stamford. I'm with our sports star's mum. Marie, tell us what he's done over the last couple of years.
Logan was introduced to water sports by Lucy Buckby at Rutland Water Sports. He was sort of a very underconfident young man. He hadn't found what sport he was good at. Lucy encouraged him and he started kayaking. We then went across to Rutland Sailability that provides a sailing club for children and adults with some form of disability. Logan's now been there for 2 seasons and it's just a lifeline, not just for Logan but for the whole family. And he's managed such massive achievements.
Logan's disabilities aren't obvious, are they, to most people?
On severe days, he does use a wheelchair, but generally speaking, no, not necessarily visible. But he's just a 10-year-old boy that wants praise, he wants to enjoy life, and I think we've finally found a sport that he can be included in, but also have some independence as well.
I think we've walked in on some kind of assembly, choir rehearsal.
It's quite exciting.
We're at Malcolm Sargent Primary School. There must be about 14 rows of children here.
They're all getting suspicious. They're wondering what's going on.
I'm Rob Pisani. This is Lydia Meredith from Rutland Radio. We're here to do something really special. Now, we've been presenting awards all week called our Young Star Awards to those 16 and under who do incredible things in incredible ways. And sometimes it's not necessarily just about what you do, but it's how you do it and how hard sometimes it is to do it. And that's why we're here today. We're here to present our sports star to Logan Bell. There you are.
I joined Rutland Sailability. I've passed all through the children level and all the adults can't even understand how I'm doing it and they're literally running out of things for me to do.
Can you understand how you're doing it?
No, not really.
We're so proud of you, and that's why you're our sports star, Logan Bell. Hasn't he done an amazing job? Don't you think?
Rutland Radio.
OK, we're outside room 99.
Oh, hello, it's Lottie here. Lottie, right.
Here she is. Lottie, we have some visitors for you from Rutland
Hello.
Radio.
Yes, we've been doing these awards. We've got 5 awards. There are Young Star Awards, and for different disciplines, effectively, and we're here to present the School Star. Tell us about what you do extra at school.
I do quite a few extracurricular activities like after school and stuff.
And you help others as well.
Yeah, I'm a fish for year 8, so I just help them if they have any questions, and we just meet every so often.
Who do you think nominated you? Would you have any idea?
I think my teacher, because he told me.
Cat's out of the bag.
Tell us why Lottie you thought deserved this award.
Well, there's just so many students here at the endowed schools that perhaps could have gone forward for this award, but when I heard the advert on the radio driving to work one morning for the School Star, I thought, well, that's Lottie. She fully embodies the habits of mind that we try and engender in pupils here at the school. In everything she does, she strives for accuracy. Her writing on the school blog, especially for philosophy and ethics, shows that she's willing to share what she's learned with the community. And she's absolutely unflappable. She's always willing to try something new. But I think more than that, and the thing that really tipped it for me to put her forward, is how she really fulfills the school programme of independent learning and intellectual curiosity. She even does homeworks that I don't even set, and it's really quite fantastic. I mean, it's true, and that enriches the teaching experience for me, but also the learning experience for others in the class. So she's fully deserving of this award.
How do you feel having heard that?
I feel very honoured, yeah. Yeah, thank you very much for submitting me. Yeah, it feels very nice.
Our School Star is Lottie Pike. Well done.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
So I'm currently in a room at the RAF Cadet Presentation Evening with Lucy Seymour, and you are our Community Star Award winner's mum. So why do you think Amelia's won this?
Amelia does a huge amount within the community. She is the chair for the Rutland Youth Council. She does the health watch for the youth, and she's been up to Pablo Sanctuary up in Melton to help with the ponies and donkeys up there.
And also Jackie Lawrence, you've got all of your gear on, your uniform I should say.
I'm Flight Lieutenant Lawrence, Jackie Lawrence. I help with the Air Cadets, Rutland Air Cadets, and I nominated Amelia. I've known her since she was 13 when she first came to the cadets, and I've seen her mature and grow into a lovely young lady.
We're actually going to present it in front of everyone at the presentation evening, so hopefully she won't be too embarrassed.
Good evening, my name's Lydia, I'm from Rutland Radio, and we've been doing something called the Young Star Awards. So basically we wanted to recognise the youngsters in Stamford and Rutland, and somebody in this very room has got an award. Amelia Seymour. Are you here, Amelia? Here she is. So this award, it is our Community Star Award for everything that you've done in the community, Amelia. Jackie has nominated you. So how are you feeling?
I'm really nervous. I didn't expect it at all. So yeah, quite surprised.
And what sort of things do you do for the community?
I'm the chair of the Rutland Youth Council. I'm a sergeant here. I'm part of Young Inspectors. I lead on that. I work with Rutland Health Watch, help the young person's health watch. Do a lot with mental health, things like
Very
that.
busy young lady then.
Yes.
And why do you do it?
I really enjoy helping other people and seeing other people develop. So a lot of my friends who might not be as confident, but them taking part and then developing. It's just really nice to see.
So Amelia, really well done.
Thank you.
Rutland Radio.
Hi there, Rob. Yeah, the film, is absolutely fantastic. Really, really good. They just seem to keep getting better and better. I mean, the actual Star Wars premiere itself, I've never experienced anything like that. It's very much different to driving a tractor in Rutland.
Tell us about your part in building the TIE fighter then.
The TIE fighter itself, it was actually built in Rutland. My part was obviously helping Colin and the other two guys, Rick and DJ Rico, as we call him. Yeah, it was a 6-week project, tons and tons of steel and all sorts of other bits ordered through eBay. I was in charge of sort of the transportation, and we're actually up at Burley House at the moment just taking the rest of it down.
And there have been so many people going up there, seeing Colin, seeing the TIE fighter, having their picture next to it, and I know eBay also had that big launch.
Yeah, they did. It's been well worthwhile. There's been loads of people up here meeting Colin. like last night on the red carpet, you know, people were still meeting Colin then, as well as the stars signing autographs. Colin was signing autographs on the red carpet as well.
And this was all at the Royal Albert Hall?
This was all at the Royal Albert Hall in London last night. Colin managed to get us tickets, so all four of us went, and I'd never thought I'd be on the red carpet. And yeah, what a fantastic experience that was, you know, meeting the stars. Royalty was there, Prince William and Prince Harry. Just fantastic. They were sat just behind us in the royal box. We were actually sat right near the front, some of the best seats in the house, I thought. Brilliant.
So, TIE Fighter getting to Burley House from somewhere in Rutland, how did you transport it?
We used 2 8-ton JCB telescopic forklifts, and then we had 4 Arctic lorries, because the whole TIE Fighter itself weighs about 7 tons, but it's just the sheer size of it. It all does come into bits. It comes into sort of 7 or 8 big pieces. And we loaded it all up onto lorries to transport it down the A1 and Burley House itself.
You must have got some looks.
Especially when the cab was going down the A1, yes, definitely.
Tom, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. Just wonderful to hear your experience last night down in London, and no doubt we'll speak to the man himself at some point in the near future.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Rob. Cheers.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
Thank you, Rob. I'm outside St Botolph's Church in Wardley with Peter Ayres, the Chief Exec of the Church's Conservation Trust. So, what's been done to this church? It's been closed, hasn't it, for a while? Now it's reopening. So what's happened to it?
Okay, so we're a charity called Church's Conservation Trust, and we look after historic churches where there's no longer a congregation to care for the building. So effectively, we care for them on behalf of the nation. We repair them and we open them up, and we try and encourage the community to use them in a huge variety of ways to make sure that these buildings are still a relevant part of community life and they're still there. We're an interesting charity. You've got churches right across England, and this one particularly I'm really proud of. It's a beautiful little church, very gorgeous looking church out here, and it's in a tiny little village. And we've spent about £300,000 repairing the roof. It's a hugely historic building and very much part of the landscape, and the community wasn't actually able to care for it on its own, so we've stepped in and we've been able to help do that.
So what sort of things are going to be happening in the church with the community now?
Well, in this particular church, the community, as you can see, is not the largest one. So we'll see what sort of appetite people have for events here. But hopefully there'll be several services a year, and we can see what people want to do, really. There's no end to it. Music always works really well in these buildings, and sometimes sort of marketplaces sometimes work as well, which is really good. But we have to see what the community's appetite for using it is.
And what's going on here today? You've got, I know you've got lunch at 12:30.
Yeah, so we've thrown on a bit of a party today in just before Christmas, just to say hello to this church and welcome it into the Church's Conservation Trust family. It's I think it's worth celebrating. We've saved this church for the nation, and it's a really good thing to say.
Rutland Radio.
My name's Lel Nichols. I am a senior street pastor with Stamford Street Pastors, but I'm also the community outreach street pastor.
So can you tell me what you do as a street pastor, please?
Oh, now there's a loaded question. As a street pastor, there's 2 main roles in pastoring in Stamford, but as a street pastor, you go out with a team on rota, usually once a month, and you start your shift approximately 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night, and you go out until approximately 3:30 Sunday morning.
So a lot of time out. And, yes.
In the streets.
And what are you doing whilst on the streets?
We are picking up broken glass, sweeping up broken glass, picking up bottles that could be used for potential weapons. We give out lollipops to people to try and give them a sugar boost and try and dissolve any potential arguments and just be friendly. And we give out flip-flops to people who are wearing high heels that otherwise would not be able to walk properly, and give basic first aid and just TLC to anybody that needs it, really. Our ethos is listening, caring and helping, and that's what we do in an unconditional way. So, it doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, how old, makes no difference. We're just there to support anybody who's vulnerable or needs any kind of level of support in Stamford.
So how is it over Christmas?
It can be quite fun and but hectic, but sadly this year we're so low on volunteers for various reasons. We've actually got 2 shifts we can't cover, and we're a bit stuck because that's never really happened before. So really we are desperate, in desperate need of new people wanting to become street pastors so we can train them up and put them out on shift.
If you're looking for volunteers, how can they get involved?
So they can either, well, the easiest way to contact is to get in touch with Liz Goodwin. She's our Street Pastor coordinator. You can find them on Street Pastors Facebook. Basically, all you need to apply is a willing heart and a letter of support from your vicar or your reverend from your church or your parish, and basically just apply, make contact with Liz and have a conversation. You can then, we would certainly recommend you then come out on an observation night, at least one observation night, so you can see what it's about and see whether you think it's for you or not. And then there is some training, but it's not arduous at all, and within a few months you'd be a bona fide member of the team.
So is there anything specific that you do over Christmas?
We don't actually do anything differently itself over Christmas, because each shift is exactly the same in what we do, but what we carry would be different. So we take more resources with us because it's winter, really. So because of the weather, because it's icy, we take more flip-flops because more people are likely to be having trouble with their high heels or footwear. We would be taking silver foil first aid blankets because of the weather conditions, really, because they come out from drinking and they're on a high and they're nice and warm from in a nice cosy pub or whatever. But actually, the minute they hit the cold air, it's a bit of a shock, especially if you have been drinking. So definitely more silver foil blankets. We take out scarves and gloves and sometimes woolly hats as well. So if people are hanging around and waiting for lots of things, for taxis or for different friends, they can at least have a little bit of extra warmth. So we take extra resources at this time of year, but how we deal with it is exactly the same. We tend to get more hugs, give out more lollipops, and there's generally a much more happy vibe going around. But, you know, Stamford's a lovely place to be on a Saturday night anyway.
Where do you get the resources from?
Well, basically we work on donations. We are self-funding, really. We do rely on donations. We have had support, and we do have support from the county council and police and different voluntary organisations, but we rely heavily on street donations. So we have to fund that, and we have to buy our own lollipops, flip-flops and water, and we can usually, you know, we can shop around and try and get a good price, but it still costs us at the end of the day to provide these resources to people in Stamford.
And how many people do you help?
In this last year alone, we've helped 18 extremely vulnerable people. We've reported approximately 16 emergency incidents to ambulance, police or the CCTV. And we've engaged with over 2,000 people in this last year alone. But in the 6 years that we've been currently on the street, we have... In the 6 years that we've actually been on the street, we've had over 180 vulnerable people helped, and we've been in touch and liaising with 15,000 people, and we've spent over 8,000 volunteer patrol hours out on the street.
And why do you do it?
That's something that you would have to ask every individual street pastor, basically, because we all have our own stories. But generally, I mean, I obviously have faith. I'm a Christian, practicing Christian, and I'm not very good at evangelising, and it's not my gift, and I don't pretend to stand there and quote the Bible. My particular reason why I do it is I'm Stamford born and bred. I met my husband in Stamford. We've had children. They've now grown up. They're in their 20s, and I have a heart for Stamford, and I care for the people that I see on the street. Even though I don't know them, I care for them. And although I can't necessarily evangelise or quote the Bible from top to beginning to the end, what I do want to do is live it, and I want to show that unconditional care, support and love for anybody that I come across. So actually I don't need to wear a street pastor uniform to be a street pastor. I just do it every day. If something arises, you know, it doesn't take many minutes just to stop and check that somebody's all right or if they need some help. So I personally do it because I'm a local lass and I want to put something back.
And have you got any stories about how you've helped someone?
There has been one chap that approached the team one Saturday night to say thank you for helping him. And the team said, OK, that's great, thank you very much, that's really kind of you. And this chap went on to say that he woke up on a Sunday morning, one morning, after a particularly heavy night, and he'd got no idea how he got home. He found a street pastor card in his shirt pocket. And so realised that a team had found him and had safely put him in a cab, got him in the taxi, and he'd got home, safely. And since that night, and the realisation of what could have happened to him if street pastors hadn't been there, he said he never takes out a credit card with him. He just takes just enough money for a few drinks and a cab fare home. So that's changed his behaviour. It's the littlest things have the biggest impact. There was another occasion more recently when the Right Reverend Bishop Nicholas of Grantham came out observing, and one young man came up with his fiancée to the team and introduced himself and her to us and said, basically, I've told my fiancé how you've saved my life. And the team were like, that's amazing, fabulous. It might not have been us particular street pastors, but the team have helped you. And he went on to say how one evening, the team had found him one night on the meadows and he had been on ketamine. And they'd helped him that particular evening and given him some support that was particularly relevant. And he just said, he owes street pastors so much for not actually still being alive, but knowing that there are people in the world that you can rely on who don't judge you, but just help you regardless. And it was lovely to see this young man who was, clean and mature and getting on with his life in the right way safely. And it was just such a awesome thing to have happen, really.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Hello.
Hello, Kim. It's Rob from Rutland Radio.
Oh, hello.
12 Days of Christmas. You entered, of course.
Yes.
We have a dozen prizes, and we're going to give them to one Rutland Radio listener. It's you.
Thank you.
We have prizes from Baubles and Bangles, Gates's, Sally Holmes, Rutland Cycling, The Grain Store, Newton Fallowell, Digby Farm, Robinson's to Stamford, Stuart Westmoreland, Pearson's the Jewellers, The Plough Greetham, and Anvil's Interiors. All going to go to you.
Thank you. Made my Christmas. Oh, that's wonderful.
You weren't expecting that then?
Oh, no, I wasn't. So I've just come upstairs to get dressed. I'm going to watch my granddaughter in an activity play this morning. She's a star. She's only a year one.
Oh, that'll be lovely.
Yes, she was an angel last year.
Whereabouts is she performing then?
Oakham CV.
Lovely, yes. There's a lot of nativities around at the moment, isn't there? Today is Rutland Radio's 19th birthday. Yes, so we thought actually we'd do the draw today and give away the big prize. So it is yours.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week. So I'm here with Mick Bell of Christmas Bells here on Fife Close in Stamford. The house looks as amazing as ever. For me, it's always that star just on the top of the roof. That was new for last year, wasn't it?
It was, yes. Unfortunately, there's been a few problems with it this year, so it's not really working its full potential.
So what is new this year? Because I know you always try and add to this.
Yes, well, most of the lights are new this year because it's usually the same old problem. You get them out the shed, they don't work. So I've replaced a lot of them. And most of them are now Bluetooth operated, so I can just change the sequences off my phone. So it's
really? So you literally sit inside and see everyone else kind of, when they come along and see it, and you can actually kind of get a reaction from them.
Change the sequences on the lights, yeah.
How many years now since you started doing this?
We must be about 30 years in total. And it obviously started with just one tree and then just increased as the years on.
And this year's charity, I know you actually asked people for a charity that maybe you hadn't supported before.
Yes, I put it out on the Facebook page and just asked for suggestions. And the Bubble Club came up many, many times, so we chose to go with that.
What do you know about them?
It's basically a Stamford-based charity for 16 plus people who are probably in need of help, so they basically are organised charity discos and get-togethers and social events for them, and they just need somewhere to, something to pay for these events. So this is what the donations are going to go to this year.
And just looking out every time you see people come and visit this, particularly the children, I mean, that must be amazing to see every time.
Yeah, it is, yeah, and it's very nice when you can actually just come out and you can talk to some very nice people, and you just get a very, very good response all the time. And it's just, I suppose it does make it worthwhile, just by just the response you get from the people.
And here it is, tucked away on a quiet corner just off Arran Road, and people wouldn't necessarily even know it's here unless they really knew.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, really. It would have been nice if my house was on the main road, but we're not. So, unfortunately, it does make a bit of a traffic jam in the close at times, and it's surprising how many people do know it's here. And the cars do come in steadily, in a steady flow.
You've got some very understanding neighbours, I guess.
Yes, the neighbours are very good. In fact, quite a few of them are here. So, this is what this event's for tonight, really. We just put this food and drink on just to say thank you for putting up with it, basically.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
It's Rutland Radio here with us this morning, PC Joe Lloyd of Oakham and Barleythorpe Beat. And Joe, welcome to Rutland Radio. Busy time, I suppose, for you as more people are having Christmas parties. You obviously are out on the streets on a Friday, Saturday night, not necessarily in the hostelries.
Yes, I don't know if you follow us on social media, but generally in the police we call it silly season because people do things that are a little bit silly that they wouldn't normally do. But yeah, you've got local police officers working all the way up to and during the Christmas period, and certainly into the new year as well. So we are out and about, but yeah, we won't be necessarily in the hostilleries. We'll be outside of them.
And as we head towards the big day itself, I mean, I suppose there's two sides of it, isn't there? There's the joyous side of it. There's the vulnerable side of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. We love Christmas. Everyone does. But obviously we also think about the people that are in our community that are vulnerable, that don't have everything that other people do have. And we always sort of say, if you can, offer a seat or just pop round to a neighbour who might be on their own. Just have that thought, because I certainly do during this period, about who might benefit from a little visit, just a mince pie and a coffee. It'll make someone's day.
And you did exactly that last week, dressed up as Santa Joe with Elf Laurie as well. Yeah. Yes, at the Park School in Oakham. What a fantastic morning that is whenever you do that.
I know, it's lovely. It's 5th year now. I started it with Jay Cooper, who's now a police officer, who was a PCSO back then. And Laurie's taken up the mantle of being the elf. He's quite a large elf, but it's fantastic. It's something that we book pretty much the day after we do it for the next year. And it's fantastic to see the children, also the parents who are amazing, the teachers and the volunteers who give up their own time. It's one of those things that people forget. There's lots of volunteers that work around Rutland, and these are the people that personally I think should get more credit because they give up their own time to make other people's lives a little bit better. So yeah, it's a great thing for us to do. We love doing it.
And I guess really through your role, you feel so much part of the community. You see all this happening.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, as you know, I'm from this area. Well, I grew up around this. I'm not a Rutlander. I grew up around this area from the age of 15. I absolutely love living here, and it's great news. We've just been voted 3rd best place to live in the country. I necessarily think that's too below, but yeah, absolutely love it, and I love being part of the community that I police. And it's a fantastic place.
And priorities for the last year and for the forthcoming year, how's that gone and
yeah,
what are you planning?
I mean, absolutely. I think everyone's pretty much aware that, we don't have as much money as we used to have in policing, and, there are certain things that we can and can't do. But, ultimately, Rutland is still what I would class as one of the safest places to live within, certainly the Leicestershire policing area, and if not, sort of countrywide. You've got some dedicated police officers that have been working. We had a bit of a spike in burglaries a couple of months ago, but fortunately, there's been a reduction in that. We carried out an operation called Op Hexagon, and that was to disrupt travelling criminality. And we worked with the cross-border team and other police forces in relation to that. Hair coursing, it's not a big thing for me necessarily, but certainly for Laurie and Pete out on the beats, out in the rural areas. working with farmers. There's been a WhatsApp group that's been set up so farmers can contact each other directly, which has been great. I think the NFU have supported that as well, and that's been fantastic. So we've had some great sort of successes in this last year. Social media wise, we're trying to keep it updated, real, not too corporate. I think anyone that knows me sort of knows that I'm not that corporate when it comes to social media, and I think that's what people like. So the future, again, it's to in attempts to reduce crime, obviously, but even with our sort of decreasing numbers, to still have that visible presence, and that's not necessarily on our feet out on the town. It might be online, or actually just at events, or just dealing with people day to day. So
Rutland Radio.
So yesterday was last day of term at Oakham C of E Primary. I'm here with Mr. Cox, head of Oakham C of E. Now, what a task the whole school had to bake the day before the end of term.
I know, it's an absolutely fantastic idea. We were trying to think of a nice fun way to end the term, and obviously cake and exciting things like that is a great way to finish it, and the children were so excited about it, and the quality of the things they produced were amazing.
Now, you and Mrs. Evans were the kind of Poor Hollywood and Mary Berry of the whole thing.
Yeah, we did our best. It's not something that I watch too much, to be fair, but I can certainly live with sampling lots of different types of cake.
Now, out of the 10 classes that you have here, this Christmas pudding, I mean, you could see it from the moon, couldn't you?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a great idea. It draws your eyes in straight away. And then obviously consistency was a key part of the task, and all of the individual cakes mirror the giant one at the top there.
So how was it that Miss Partridge's class won then, would you say, year 5?
Well, obviously it was all a blind tasting, so we didn't know whose was which. But the texture of the cake was really moist. It was chocolate cake, so myself and Mrs. Evans are big fans of chocolate cake. And the icing was really sweet on top as well.
So who can tell us a bit about the cake?
It looks like Santa has fallen down the chimney and he's stuck, so he can't get out.
And what was it made out of, do you know?
We made it out of icing and cocktail sticks.
And how exciting an end of term was that then?
It was really exciting because we didn't have to do any work.
That's the way every end of term should be. Sorry, what would you like to say?
I'd like to say that it's been a great term, and I just can't say how much I'm able to thank this school.
Wow, how lovely. Would you like to all wish everyone who's listening to Rutland Radio Merry Christmas if I do it after 3? 1, 2, 3.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
It's Rutland Radio, so there's plenty of people working hard as we head towards Christmas. The Lions Club of Rutland have one of their big fundraisers on at the moment, which of course is touring the Big Man in Red around Oakham and Uppingham. Alan Gray's with us this morning. Alan, how's it going? Is it as hard work as ever?
Well, it is, Rob, certainly, and unfortunately we got off to a little bit of a slow start because of the weather, but we're now picking up. And the tours seem to be getting longer and longer. We're in full bore at the moment, and each night this week, right up till Christmas Eve, we will be starting around 5:30, and we have to finish between about 7:45 and 8 p.m. because, as we all know, all good children should be in bed by then.
I've seen a few pictures, actually, of children stepping out in their onesies, their dressing gowns, and, they're desperate, obviously, to see the man in red passing past their street.
Well, so many people say to us that Christmas doesn't really begin until the Lions have brought Santa round, and it is just a delight to see the pleasure on not just the children, but the mums and dads as well. It really is fantastic.
You have quite a team at this. About how many actually go out and help you?
Well, we have 34 members of the club now, and even that isn't really enough to resource the whole programme. And we've gradually, over the last couple of years, built up a database of people who we call supporters, who are prepared to come and help us at our major events. And in fact, 2 or 3 of our members have actually started by supporting the Santa tours, and found out that they had so much fun with us that they actually came and joined the club.
It is a truly wonderful thing, isn't it? But, people do see it very much as a public service, don't they? They want to, it's kind of a fine line between, do people think it's their right to have this tour go down their street? But I know you try to visit as much as you possibly can.
Well, as we all know, Oakham is growing at a phenomenal rate now, and I was out on the sleigh on Monday and Tuesday this week, and we were down on the new Larkfield estate, and sadly we just weren't able, with the number of families that came out, we just weren't able to get round all of those roads. As you know, Rob, we've got Facebook and Twitter feeds now, and we get a lot of questions. And in fact, I am the social media guru for the club, so I do respond to every request that we get via social media. And I do have to apologise from time to time that we just run out of time.
Indeed, yes. You just don't quite know how long it's going to take each time, do you?
No, that's right. We should have done Stud Road and that area in Oakham earlier on in the week, and I had one plaintive cry, "Did you do Stud Road?" No, I'm ever so sorry. We ran out of time.
And I presume it's quite a big fundraiser for the club as well. Obviously, you're collecting for the causes that you support.
Yes, we are. First and foremost, though, the Santa Tour is a community service, and that's what we love about it. The residents of Oakham and Uppingham are incredibly generous, and they do put money in our tins. So yes, we do raise funds from the Santa Tour as well, but primarily it is a community service.
And almost wrapping up with saying it on a Christmas interview like this, but concluding with what we started talking about, really, is, it all depends on the support of the club, and if anyone's listening who would like to actually join the Lions in the new year.
Yep. As most people know, we're not just involved in Santa. We do get involved in quite a number of major events, not least the fireworks, which has been incredibly successful. And the main thing about Lions is, although we're here to serve the community, we all want to have fun while we're doing it. So if anyone out there is interested either in just helping us at one or two events, or perhaps becoming a member, or just want to find out a little bit more about the club, perhaps I can give them some details.
Yeah, please
Rob.
do.
If they'd like to contact our secretary, a guy called Keith Primarolo, telephone number is 0845 833 4319, or you can email us at rutlandlions, all one word, at talktalk.net. You can find us on Facebook, Rutland Lions, or you can even find us on Twitter at Rutland Lions.
So plenty of ways to contact you. And who do the Lions support? It's the local and not quite like the way the Rotary works, is it?
Not quite. With our donate, the monies we raise through our fundraising, about 90% of that will go back to support various groups and deserving people within the local community. Perhaps I can just give you an idea of one or two of the things that we've supported over the last year. We've purchased specialist software for a local disabled teenage girl. We've sponsored quite a number of young people embarking on overseas expeditions. We provided help for local people in need, and that's usually via a recommendation from the CAB. We sponsor school and college awards. And one of the things that we've supported, we've helped the new Kendrew Army first responders. We've made a fairly substantial donation to help them get up and running, and we've also put funds towards equipment for the start of a junior park run within Rutland. So that's where we put some of the funds from our fundraising. As far as our service activity goes, I think most people will recognise our annual Christmas parcels, where we try and get a bag of goodies out to people that might not otherwise receive that sort of fare at Christmas. We annually put a barbecue together for the Rotaract Family Support Group, and each year now you'll see us helping Marie Curie by rattling tins, although we're not allowed to do that, of course. We have to hold them very still.
Absolutely.
Outside Tesco's and Co-op. And one or two of the members also help groups like Rutland Reminders by driving local residents from their homes to group meetings and back.
Alan Gray, thanks very much for joining us. Merry Christmas and good luck on the rest of the Santa Tour, and well done for all the club does.
Thank you very much, Rob, and thanks for the chance to promote the Rutland Lions.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
So front of stage, backstage at Beauty and the Beast, Stamford Corn Exchange starts on the 27th of December. It's this year's Stamford Panto. It's from the Stamford Pantomime Players, here with director Lisa Hales now. This is quite different, isn't it, to your traditional panto? You know, this isn't a Cinderella. This isn't like, you know, this is something kind of quite different to what Stamford Pantomime Players have done before.
Yes, we decided that we'd done a lot of the old traditional ones, and this year we'd have something different. It's one of the ones I love. Obviously, it's been on telly quite frequently, and I thought, you know what, I just love the idea of doing something different. So this is the one we picked.
And it's got the magic of Disney, hasn't it? You know, the film and everything.
Definitely. The storyline's slightly different because of being pantomime. We have the usual dame and the silly Billy, which obviously they don't in the film. But there is very much like there's still the candlestick, there's still the teapot and things like that are very similar to the show, yes, yeah.
And you can hear in the background, there's a small cast there, isn't there?
There is. We have over 30 chorus, at least 20 dancers and 15 principals. So nearly a cast of 100, to be fair, with all the other people that pop in and out and help, yes.
And this is an amazing Stamford tradition, isn't it, between Christmas and New Year?
This has been going on for many years, back into 1940-something, I think. It's not Christmas without pantomime, really. I love it.
And how long have you been rehearsing for all this?
We started rehearsing in September. And so every Friday nights and Tuesdays, so twice a week for some people, just to get it right. And bless them, they're doing all a fab job, they really are.
So it's every single day from the 27th to the 1st of January?
Yes, they're all matinees, bar one evening. So matinees on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday evening, and then Sunday and Monday matinee, yeah, so it should be great.
I bet you can't wait, actually, looking at it now, you know, as we're seeing the scenery. And
yeah, this is the first time today, actually. We're in stage, we've got the scenery, we've got the costumes. OK, the rehearsals, there'll be a few hiccups, but it's lovely to see all the hard work put together. I love it.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk.